You say that right when I go live, Corey, so you know it comes across. We're live at JTH Construction Studio, where tonight, a special Thursday edition, Mr. Mayor's in the house. Kenny, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Kevin. How are you this evening?
Not bad. It's been a rough day, and we'll get to that. Let me pay some bills here with some sponsors, and then we'll get into some good conversation with the mayor. Once again, we're live at JTH Construction Studio. Get a hold of Joe Hankins for all your construction needs. 765-913-8599. Oh, rookie mistake.
It's not the first time that's happened.
No, I know.
You about dropped it earlier.
American Basement Solutions, Mr. Larry Ralph Sr., 1-877-409-2837. Bowden Real Estate, there she is, Teresa Messmer, 765-341-8911. Get a hold of Teresa for all your real estate needs. Bob Goodrum over at Wellspring, 765-346-6661. The Yard Barber, Andrew Payton. Get a hold of Andrew at 765-318-4108. That guy posts some phenomenal pictures.
I see him everywhere.
Oh, I know it. Of course, Wayman's Furniture, Appliance, and Mattress. Get a hold of Mark at 765-342-4339. Livewire Electrical Consulting with Tommy Walls, 765-792-4012. Stids Comfort Systems. Does it feel good in here, gentlemen?
It feels fantastic.
My nose is running. But I love it.
That's how I like to sleep. Right. Give Caleb a call at 765-346-0195. Logan's Cosmos, 765-318-3388. Let's not forget our gals down at Hometown Nutrition, 765-315-0738. Yes. Protein shakes, iced coffee, boosted teas, and smoothies. And then, of course, Drink the Creek, Cedar Creek. I don't think there's one this weekend, is there?
No.
No concert this weekend. But overall, 12 concerts, 26 bands.
92 degrees Saturday, I think.
That's a good deal, then. So we'll be at the Shade for the break.
Isn't that what it is right now outside by chance?
Yeah, felt like it.
Yeah.
How you doing, Nicole, Marilyn, Corey Baker, Mike Minty, and Teresa? Mr. Mayor Kenny Costin joins us live in studio on this special Thursday night. We're gonna usher things along because we all want to get downtown because we want to see the 45 RPMs. This is like their first.
I heard it was a fantastic band. I've not had the opportunity to hear them.
There's like the first time pretty much in town, I believe. Yeah. So how are things, Mr. Mayor?
I think they're great.
Hey,
a little bit of road construction going on, but it's Martinsville.
First, I want to say we appreciate you coming in. We've tried to do this. You're busy. I'm busy. You seem to be more busy than me. I don't understand that, but that's the way it is. But thank you as always. No, I haven't had a time to really ask you this on air. You went through an election in May, primary. Mm-hmm. Different, same than your first go round.
It was different.
Yeah.
Than you and I in 19.
Yeah.
One thing I want to, when we ran in 19, we had 2,700 people that came out and voted.
Right.
This time, there was less than 1,700 that voted.
Really?
Little under 16% of the registered voters. And, I don't know why, but I know when we were knocking on doors, and you served our country in the military.
Right.
There were people I would knock on the door, and they said, I don't want that. I'm not voting. And I really wish I'd had the nerve to say, do you realize how many men and women died to give you the right to vote, and you don't exercise it? That is frustrating.
Yeah.
But it was different because when you and I were running, we had ideas of what we wanted to try to do.
We stayed in pretty much constant communication throughout the whole thing, off and on. Maybe not every day, but we spoke quite a bit.
And this time, I had two good candidates running against me. A former mayor who knew the office, knew what the mayor's responsibilities were and what they could do, and then Scotty's Manley had been with the city for so long and knew. So it was a tough campaign, and everybody knows Scotty and thinks the world of him.
Right.
So you and I had a good campaign. This one was tough.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to downplay ours or anything.
Sure.
But this was a tough campaign, and I'm glad it's over.
Right.
I know you had reached out about us doing a second debate on air here, and I I just didn't want to do that. I think Scotty was willing to, but it's tough to sit there and not argue, but discuss your views with someone's a friend. You and I had been friends for a long time,
Right.
and again, we're still good friends. Scotty and I had been friends for 40 years. We're still friends. I haven't seen him since after the election, but it's hard in a small town when you're running against somebody and you respect,
Right.
because it's competition. You got to try to get that edge somewhere.
Well, I posted like 48 hours after the election. Now we can all be friends again, and I hate that part of it because there's people that communicate with every day, and there's almost that wall they put up. I'm voting for Corey. Well, I'm voting for Kenny. Well, I'm not going to talk to you for the next 30, 40 days because of that. I'm like, really? First of all, 98% of the city's Republican. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we pretty much all we have the same base ideas of what we want, and we're picking hairs over who we can think do it better. And it's like, don't hate me for who I decide to choose. I'm not going to hate you. That's what your decision is. That's your right to go vote for that person.
Yeah, and when you get in that little box to cast your vote, nobody knows except you and the good Lord.
You're exactly right.
And but again, when we live in such a small community like Martinsville, of course, whoever you're going to run against is a friend.
Right, 100%. Are you looking forward to November?
Yes, I am. No, actually, I understand July 3rd. Independent
Deadline date.
Independent Party has June 30th. Democratic Party has July 3rd.
Have they filed anybody yet?
Not that I know of. And my question to Tammy Parker was, okay, we know there's a Democratic Party chairman and so forth. So if there were 2 or 3 people sign up on the Democratic Party, they'd have to have a caucus. I didn't realize there's also an independent party that has a chairman. And so if there were 3 or 4, if let's say the 2 of you went down and you wanted to follow as independents, then the independent party would have to have a caucus to decide who's going to.
I did not know that.
And
it used to be that way.
No.
I know that for a fact.
And another thing, I think if citizens knew this bothers, because it bothers me, that all 7 council seats, the clerk and the mayor are all in the same rotation. We're all due the voting this year. So you could have 9 new people come in and take over the city with no one there left to help go on. And I don't know. I know Westfield tried to change that, and the state came in and said, no, you couldn't do that. I think it's due to the classification of our city. We're considered a 3rd-class city, and there's certain rules that apply to us. But that's kind of a scary thought. I know when I was on the school board, you had a 3-2 split.
Sure. And you're not all getting run out at once or new blood in or whatever.
Yeah. And I know with
that is kind of scary.
With the county commissioners and the county council, there's a split. But 3rd-class cities, you're all or none.
Well, I don't think we're a 3rd-class city, so.
No, I think we're 1st class.
Yeah.
Now, give us a couple weeks to get Morton paved and Main Street and Morgan Street, then. Because right now, I'll be the first to admit, it is a bear to get around town. We just opened up the roundabout at Garfield and Ohio, but then we turn around and we close Ohio and Poston Road.
He's jumping way ahead of me here, and I can't get people mad at him if he's going to do that. No, first I want to say the work that's done on the sidewalks looks spectacular. This is one of the things we spoke about during the election. Mm-hmm. It was both on our agenda to address one way or another. How we got about there, who knew, what direction we had to go, but the work thus far looks phenomenal. There's places in the city that never had a sidewalk that now do have a sidewalk. And I think tip the hat to you guys for doing that.
Well, and thank you. And that's one thing we talked about. We wanted to look at the schools first and make sure we had proper sidewalks around the schools and look where foot traffic.
Right.
And the third thing is that, again, you don't realize until you're in the position how many lawsuits come against the city when somebody trips on a sidewalk.
Right.
We get a letter from an attorney, and of course we forward it on to our insurance agent. But as soon as we're made aware of that situation on the sidewalk, we've got to get it repaired. And some of the situations we've done in the past is we've taken some asphalt and asphalted over, but we'll get back and do it right. But we've got a plan, and are we going to get all the sidewalks done in the next 3 or 4 years? No, but I'm hoping that once I leave office, whoever comes in behind me will still continue the plan. And it may take us 20 years to get them all done.
There's a lot that were just left neglected for a long time. So, I mean, it's going to take, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Well, and right over here on Lincoln Street in between Columbus and Jackson, the sidewalk on the west side, I can remember because my mom and dad lived right there, Columbus and Jackson. We'd walk up to there, and there were the initials in there, WPA. Well, that was back in the 30s that sidewalk was put in, and it's still in pretty good shape.
Right.
So, it just takes a while to get it all accomplished.
You're on the right track, I feel, and I think it's looking good for that aspect of it. Street projects. Now, people like to sit on their keyboards, and when the first barricade goes up, it's your fault because you scheduled it. You went right over the Board of Works, the Plan Commissions, anybody and anything that had anything to do with that. It's your fault.
Yeah.
And it almost baffles me that people don't understand. You're not going to pave a road or fix a road. You're not going to schedule it think about it on Monday, sign for it on Tuesday, and do it on Wednesday. That's not how city government or any government works. First off, a lot of these projects, street projects, were put in play even before you were elected. Am I correct in saying that, sir?
Well, the South Street, Ohio Street, and then the paving that's going on right now of Morton Avenue, Main, and Morgan. Those are all figured into the I-69 project. The other miles of streets that we've done have been things that we've done under Ochre grants and so forth. And again, sometimes timing is not very good and you don't think about it till afterwards. But one of the first areas we paved was Sharman Estates.
Right.
Where I live. There's also 2 councilmen that lived out there. But the council,
I knew it.
The city council back in, I think it was 18 or 19, paid to have a Paiser report. And they went through and they rated all of our streets. And Sharman was one of the worst ones. So that's where we started. And we just had another Paiser report done, and that's what we're going by. But you're right. The streets that we're doing now were planned for the I-69 project because the amount of traffic that was going to go through. Right. Now, Ohio Street was changed when we went into office. When it was first looked at, they were going to redo Ohio Street from Poston all the way to Morgan.
That's what I thought we had discussed that or talked about that.
We were speaking with NDOT, and it was like, okay, what are you going to do at Morgan Street?
Yeah.
Are you going to make it a 4-way stop? Well, that's pretty stupid. You're going to put another stoplight there? That doesn't work. And then once you get north of Garfield on Ohio, kind of narrows down.
Yeah.
And so
it's got a zigzag right there in the middle.
Yeah. And with that streets coming into Garfield and Ohio and Mahaleysville, that just made sense to maybe make that a roundabout.
Right.
And the state agreed because the state was saving money, not having to go all the way to Morgan to be able to come back and dump on the roundabout.
Well, that roundabout, I was telling him earlier, I went live first night it opened. Looks fantastic. And that was a point of contention right there with Mahaleysville, Ohio Street, South Street, Garfield, whatever.
And Circle
Street, my fault. Circle Street, all interchanging right there. And that was dangerous. Even though you're doing 30 miles an hour, it doesn't matter.
But, roundabouts aren't cheap. I mean, I think that was $550,000.
Really?
Yeah.
But well worth it. Looks great. Signage looks good. Everything looks A-okay. So kudos on that. And then Ohio Street. No, I want to take Ohio Street first. What are we doing? I know Culver's is going there in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
But what are we doing? I seen all of a sudden it got shut down again. There's 2 big piles of dirt.
Yeah, there's 2 manholes we need to put in there. Okay. And that's going to take a couple of weeks. And once they get through there, then they're going to start moving north on Ohio to connect up with Garfield. But they will open that intersection up as soon as possible.
Okay.
Then they'll take North Ohio Street in different segments. Now, something that we're looking at right now, we're kind of discussion right now. The drawing from Culver's They're right there in that corner of the Four Bear Feet. And they've got an exit out on Prather, but then they have a big exit on Ohio Street, not just a little north of the Wendy's. I don't like that.
You'd almost need a four-way there then, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, that's what we're looking about doing, is taking Poston Road and extending it on to the east. And then Culver's is looking then about redoing their entrance and have it come off of that new street.
Backing off.
Yeah.
X amount of feet.
So that keeps Ohio Street from Prather on up clear on the east side.
Makes sense.
Until I found out how much that road costs.
So it makes sense, but not dollars and cents.
Yeah. But again, if it costs X number of dollars to put this in, split that over 50 years,
right.
Is it really that expensive?
Right.
Not to do it right this time.
The old entrance to Walmart, I don't know who had their hand in that, but if we can avoid entrances like that design and that setup, yeah, go ahead and spend the extra money, because that was the worst entrance. Because you'd get in 2 lanes off the highway and you turn and realize there's not 2 lanes. And by the time you got over, people were cussing at you and flipping you off. I was like, because there was nothing over there originally.
Well, and that's like you get into some of the roundabouts. I'm going to pick on going from Plainfield to Avon on, is it Dan Jones Road or whatever? Yeah. But you get in those roundabouts, they've got 2 lanes. Well, you better know which lane.
You better know
which lane because
straight. Or
got Dan Jones, Morris, and you got Raceway, and they're all that way.
But now
Dan Jones has got the double.
Yeah. I'm just kind of common sense, I think, but I would think that if you're going to have 2 lanes coming around the roundabout, if you're going to have the right lane end all the time, be consistent. Right. But it's not up there. Sometimes it's the right, sometimes it's the left, and I'm always in the wrong one.
That's Hendricks County for you right there. So you got Ohio Street. They're fixing that down there. I noticed some new stuff going on. Look like they're trimming trees, not trimming trees, but Morgan Street, Main Street. I apologize, from the square on. What were they doing? What have they got going on there?
To the north or to the south?
Going south.
Well, they're going to patch, and here again, they're going to mill this, but they patch it first. So if there's low spots in it, they come in, they cut it out, put asphalt in, bring it up, level off. So then when they bring the milling machine in, it gives it a nice level cut. They're working on East Morgan Street. And I thought, oh my gosh, I thought they were going to mill this and this isn't going to be right. Because if you go out by the Y, they've got curbs cutting to the road and they've got storm sewers in there. Well, if you don't mill that, you're going to be asphalt over that, and it's not going to work. But I was told that
you're corrected.
Was worried, yes. Which made me feel a lot better.
Yeah, that's they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
it just doesn't look that way at the start. That they're cutting on one end and they're filling back at the end. Now, are they going to repave all the way down once they smooth it out?
All the way Main south to Morton. Then Morton will be repaved all the way out to the bypass.
That's fantastic.
Then Morgan Street will be from the bypass all the way out to the Y.
Now, I want to ask you this personally. Out of everything that's going on, I think people will back me on this. Probably a state issue. But the entrance at the new McDonald's and Taco Bell scares me. First of all, we're taking that curve off the interstate on 2 wheels. You know that. Mm-hmm. We're launching over the roundabout and we're hitting the bypass there 45, 50, 60 miles an hour. And there it comes zipping through there. And I've seen about 2 wrecks there in the last 2 weeks going into McDonald's. You're going southbound, you're turning left going in, and they think, I'll just pull out in front of these trucks and semis. I know it's personal issues. Yeah. But that's a dangerous. That worries me there.
We don't go out that way anymore. We'll go down Burton to the stoplight and get on to go home. You know what I'm saying? There's Burton Lane and Morton.
And I've seen people that
there's Kevin Green right there.
It's an exit out of the Taco Bell there, and the way it's angled, you're just going to go on toward town. Yeah, I've seen people try to cut and enter in there. So. And they've got signage there, but unfortunately, people don't pay attention.
Right.
Now, Jim McDaniel is working on possibly redoing his parking lot and redoing that entrance there.
Okay.
So,
Good.
Oh, you're talking about. Okay, I was talking about the big main entrance.
You're on down at the corner.
No, between Taco Bell and McDonald's.
Yeah, going into McDaniel's.
The exits at the end.
No, I'm actually talking about at the Taco Bell and McDonald's
okay,
entrance.
You were talking about,
I know where he's talking about.
And McDonald's has one like that too.
Yeah. That whole little area right there. It's.
So there's 3 exits. You got one.
They're they come through there
in the middle.
I mean, and I'm guilty of this too. When I come off the interstate, the last thing I think of is, oh, let's kick it down to 45 miles an hour. Your brain and everything has to slow down to that
Nobody
gear.
goes 45 on that road.
I do.
Not until you get down to
the next light.
Perry's.
Yeah. Well, right for the light. And so they're zipping through there 55, 60 miles an hour. And that's just something. I know it's a state area. I don't know what we can do, but I just thought, man, I got to say something to him because that bugs me.
Well, if again, depending on what happens with the shopping center, it'd be a good place that we could try to petition the state to put a stoplight.
Sure.
Now,
and I hate doing that, but
if you get them in sequence, wouldn't be so bad.
Let's spread out. I mean, from Burton to there.
Kenny, is there any way to petition the state of Indiana for traffic study consider changes to the
people with the name Kenny, they have great minds and they kind of think alike.
Probably already in the plans.
But the bad thing is we've talked to them about the ramp down there and
no dice.
No.
I don't have issue with it. I've drove. It's the same. What isn't it the same ramp we had for basically decades?
It's a little sharper turn, but it's still the same. The old one we had was just kind of a gradual.
It's pretty quick.
But this one is like.
I think where people get confused on it is we've got that wall on our left, and you really can't see. Right. Whereas in the past, you could see
what's ahead.
The road was what it was doing.
Then someone brought up a good point. Exactly. Maybe extend the
just too many people.
The exit lane
down to the south,
further south.
Yeah,
but I mean,
they're still going to take that corner going.
If you made that tighter or wider or whatever, they're still going to take it quick. It does not matter.
Fine.
Slow them down.
Slow down.
Yeah.
They put the different.
Semi drivers do one good thing well.
Paved something and made it like.
Hey, careful going through Martinsville. There's a dangerous There's a dangerous ramp. Eventually, they will broadcast that down the line. I prefer to call the ramp.
There you go. Happens there about once a week, probably.
Funny, Chief Green. Funny.
Whose engineering firm consults with state of traffic recommendations?
That I don't know.
That's probably different.
I'm going to say it's probably in house with them.
Yeah, I would assume they might sub it out after, but yeah, you're going to have one chief individual that wears that badge. I bet.
But I know Nicole was talking about too many speed demons and things, and I know. I had an email from somebody the other day asking why did we put a stop sign on? I'm going to screw up
Colfax and South, yeah,
and there's not that much traffic coming off Colfax. That wasn't where the problem is. It was the speed going down South Street, and we were going to put it back initially where it was, but you still had too big of a distance going on to Ohio. So that's why we decided to move it. And one of the reasons it took us so long to get it placed was the state had in their plans a solar powered stop sign. And the price tag on this thing was like $25,000. And Gary Oaks just did what?
Think all the money you'd be saving though with the solar powered stop sign?
Yeah. Anyhow. They
didn't want
it. They finally took it off our list and took it back, and so we got a regular stop sign there.
Well, good. Standard old stop sign. I get the construction. We knew it was coming. You've stated it for months. What's all down the line from Morgan Street to Main Street, and this is just the final steps. I don't want to say the last step, but the final steps to what was put in place many years ago, and it's all going to come to a head sooner or later and be done.
I can remember being on the school board back in probably 2012, 2013, when we were meeting at Home Bank, and I was involved with it because being president of the school board at the time, And that's when talk first started on the interchange there at Ohio Street.
Right.
And as a group of business people, Mayor Deckard was there, myself and the school board, of course, Dan Moore was there for the bank, trying to advocate to the state that we needed that. And luckily, Mayor Cole was able to get that interchange there, because had we not had that interchange, the movie Cars, the James Taylor song,
yeah,
people would have been passing through our town.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to be excited about it being there and promote our city and get people to pull off that highway.
And that's a good segue to the next little section I had written down here I wanted to ask you about. You got some new stuff coming in. You got some new toys to play with now. Now, this is just rumors I'm hearing. Jimmy John's, Dunkin' Donuts, Culver's we know for a fact, Domino's, Barzik is coming downtown. Mm. And then there's some Fazoli's out there kind of in the ether, guy looking for a house to plant it in. Those are some decent restaurants. A couple we've had before. But seriously, 2 of them are going to be down there by that interchange. Is that correct? Or are you allowed to give that information up yet?
In that vicinity.
Yeah. That's the rumor that I heard also. That's going to become a busy area down through there. There's another gas station going in too on that side of the west side, correct?
Well, I think it's Turkey Hill's going to move up.
Right.
Oh, does it say really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a big one though too. There, move north. Because any word on the street line between South Edmonds and Granville, because that area, most of the time people want to hit a gas station, you want to get off the interstate, hit your gas, get back on there. You got to do the old whoop driver, and we hate to be inconvenienced like that. So, but they're moving up north.
And that was, I'm not sure how, if they've thought about it. I know there's a time period that they were looking at that, but answering Ken's question on South Mill Elementary, we're looking at, once we get the housing started over there in Indian Creek Village and the Hannah Farms, then we're looking to put a asphalt sidewalk up through there, and then we'll try to get some lighting on there. We'll probably try to work with, again, that's kind of a strange area there because some of it's Duke, some of it's RMC. Right. So we got to figure out, who's going to be helping us there. On that, because we've got new lights we're putting into Ruth Rusi Way, because there was like 5 or 6 lights there, and the state came in, they took them out and disposed of them, and they left, but nothing was put back. But now that's a city street leading in from Ohio Street to that 4-way stop. Then now we're going to light that, and we've signed a contract with Duke. Duke's going to put, I think, 4 lights in there, but they're going to go to some LED lighting, and it's going to save the city a lot of money on our electric, and they're going to take care of the expense.
That's fantastic. You said subdivisions. We got some housing coming in there eventually, correct? Yeah. South, or actually east side of the city.
Yeah.
I'm hearing 2 subdivisions, maybe. I don't know exactly, but
you got Vic and Bill Spina and Rick Hammock finishing out Indian Creek Village. I believe there's 187 homes there. Mm-hmm. You've got D.R. Horton, who is the largest construction in the United States, and they're bringing in 280 homes in the first phase. Then Tony Schwab owns some property that used to be the bowling property right there in the curve. Yep. They just recently took down the old farmhouse there. I'm hoping that that's indication that Tony's looking to do something.
That was in the works. I don't know if it ever, like I said, how far it went.
But we could have close to 600 homes coming in here over the next 4 or 5 years. And I know that we're going to be able to get people in them because people are looking at Martinsville.
Yeah.
I mean, our location is going to be fantastic. We talked about amenities, things for families to do. It's like the concert tonight. You've got Cedar Creek. We get the Civic Theater downtown.
I wanted to mention that too. Yeah.
There's a couple other things we know that's coming in that'll be a huge benefit, and to make this a place where people want to come live. We've got 2 great school systems, in the public school and the private school. So why wouldn't you want to bring your children here to raise them? And you're 20 minutes from work.
We both talked about this back when we ran. You got to give them a reason to get off the interstate, and slowly, you build new housing like that. You put some of these new places up, the theater for one, and different and enemies around town. That's going to give them some motivation. We got to increase our base. You and I know that. Yeah. And with the new houses that are going in, new subdivisions, that's only going to help. We're 60-40, I think, rent to own right now, and we've got to reverse that.
Yeah,
that hurts us in the long run.
And we need nice, and that maybe is the wrong way to say, because I don't want to offend anybody, but we need affordable housing, and we need to educate everyone what affordable housing is. Affordable housing isn't Section 8. Affordable housing is people, they have to work to live there.
Right.
And they have to make a certain percentage of the median income for the county. But if we've got these restaurants coming in, we need housing, apartments, nice apartments for people to live in.
Right.
And, you look up at Perry Crossing in Plainfield. They've got some nice apartments up through there. Maybe we don't need something that's 3 stories, but maybe 2 stories, whatever. And there's some areas that we can do that and have that, but we need the workforce. And the other thing that we really, we talked a little bit about the seniors from IU coming up and doing our, I lost my capstone project.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And they gave us 4 different areas that they were looking at and everything. And one of the things is, how do we retell our story? We need to brand and going forward what our city is about. And what we need to do, working with the chamber, is to work with restaurants and help train their employees, their servers. So if somebody's coming in out of town and says, what do you have in town here? They know the different things that we have.
Right.
I heard a story today, back when Village Pantry was in place up there at Hospital Drive in 252. Gentleman came in to get gas, asked a young man, do you have any hotels in this town? He told him no. And he just luckily saw the Holiday Inn Express.
Right. And
the only reason the chamber knew about this is because the gentleman told the manager at Holiday Inn Express, and he shared. Now, again, here was somebody from Martinsville working that didn't know. And those are ways that we need to work as a community to promote our city.
Got to promote your hometown. You have to. It only helps us all in the long run. That's what I don't get when you see a lot of negativity. There's negativity and bad things in every community in this nation. We know that. But we all got to work together. With population growth, there's a rumor that it would cross the threshold of business growth.
That's one we're going to struggle with for a long time.
We're a bedroom town to begin with everybody working outside. We need to get the business here to match our growth.
And we had businesses going to open up that came from Mooresville.
Mm-hmm.
It was a White's Electrical, but they're going to be changing their name and rebranding. They're bringing about 50 employees here.
Good deal.
Out on Haley'sville and Ohio Street in that area. But even with the levee that we're going to build, most places are not going to put a warehouse like you see in Plainfield or lots going out in Monrovia area and have it protected by a levee.
Right.
And we have sugar sand. And that is really hard. I always wondered why, because remember years ago, Lowe's was going to come to Martinsville and they backed out because, again, they were going back then behind the wings, etc. But the sugar sand, the soil wasn't suitable for them. But you go a quarter of a mile, you got a huge Walmart, but the soil was okay there. So that's how much diversity we have in our soil here. I mean, we owned Nebo for 13 years, and it was a white sand out there. And there are some parts of the cemetery, nice clay. You could dig a grave and you didn't have to worry about caving in. Other parts is like digging on the beach.
Really, that bad?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know about the sand situation on Lowe's. I knew that they had inquired. I didn't realize that had a lot to do with it, though. Wow. Makes it tough. That and we're swampy, pretty much 360 degrees. So
well, it's like when we put in wastewater system out there along Artesian Avenue. They were hitting water at 5 feet. We had to dewater it down to 20 feet. So that's why that project took a lot longer.
The largest aquifer in the state is underneath this. Is the MIA Creek? There are creeks in that. I work.
Can we scroll?
Yeah, you want to hit?
Yeah, I gotta ask. Kenny's got to answer this question first.
Which one?
Keep going. Nicole asked it. That right there.
What about the
DQs are open?
Well,
you don't know how many posts.
At least 3 times.
Come on, Tony.
Every day.
I understand that everything's basically done. They're waiting for the inside equipment. And,
that's what I had heard. HVAC.
That's got to hurt.
Yeah.
Because, again, I don't know their business, but I'm looking at I know a way a construction loan works.
Yeah.
So that's interest has got to be paying, but you've not got any revenue coming in to help with that. I mean, that's.
I want my now. I love my brain chills. I pay $100 less in water in Mooresville than I did in Martinsville.
Well, a couple of things there. Mooresville Water is owned by American Water. They have over 300,000 customers in the state of Indiana alone. So therefore, Mooresville does not fall under the IURC as far as setting their rates. Their storm sewers, or not storm sewer, their wastewater is not under the IRC either. Martinsville, and you look at your utility bill, there's 4 things on there. You have your wastewater, which is your sewer. You have your stormwater. You have your water bill, and then you have your sanitation. So our water is governed by the IURC, which is the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. Our water is not large enough to be governed by them. But somebody, many, many moons ago, decades, went there and said, we want you to govern us. Because my guess is it was some mayor that knew they needed to increase the costs for the water, but didn't want to take the politics and do it.
Right.
So this was an easy way for them to put it on the state to govern our water rate. You take...
And he just was saying exactly what you're saying there. American Indiana Water is able to spread their costs.
Exactly. Yeah. So you take our $7 million project that was started in the fall of 20 and finished up at $7 million. Respread that over 4,800 customers.
Yeah.
American Water would spread that over 250,000 plus customers. Now, here's my fear. I mean, if you mentioned we're on this huge aquifer, Lebanon would love to be able to dip their hose in here somehow, their straw, and suck water up there to them. Because right now they're taking some water that's going to come from the Wabash up around Lafayette and be coming in because they got that huge park that they're building. It's on a medical park. I can't. Life Science, I think it is.
Up in Lebanon.
Yeah. So, but they're running out of water. And that's one of the things the county commissioners did that was really smart. They've hired somebody to come in and study our aquifer and figure out how big this is and how do we keep other people from dipping their straws in. Citizens Utility has wells up in the northern part of the county. I'm sure there's some way that they can pump out and through their system and get it up to the north side of Indianapolis. But we need to protect what we have.
I wouldn't mind them coming in and taking it, but real estate wise, we're from the center to the earth all the way straight above us.
Yeah.
I would say, hey, we'll sell you our water. Is that if it's as large as they think it is, you're talking bigger than Geist and bigger than almost any lake in the state. If that's the case, that'd be interesting to see how that happens.
Yeah.
But we just don't want them coming down here draining, creating sinkholes on us.
Well, and that's one thing you and I talked about. We ran back in 19. We talked about moving the well fields.
Yeah.
Because, and right now our well fields are up there where we play, our little kids play Little League.
Yeah.
And so we were looking at moving those. But what I found out later once I got in office, had we moved those well fields, then the EPA would not be dedicated to clean that site up.
Yep.
And again,
they
like
got you by the short
Bethany
hairs
talks
there,
about,
yeah.
it's the air vapors that we have to worry about. So now we're still pulling it through and we're treating it, and it's non-detectable. Our water's safe, but the EPA and the state is hoping that we'll keep pulling that through those carbon filters.
Well, I will tell you this. I'm part of that a little bit still. I'm on some board. I don't even know exactly what the name of it is. We have a quarterly meeting, and we got one coming up. But Bethany's entrenched in it. You know, we've had a few shows, but they needed properties in town to come check the water. Said, have at it. Check it. So they checked my water straight from my sink and came back with 0 findings. And I said that online the next day. My sink has been tested, and this is the group. This is Bethany's group. That group there. So, hats off to, you know, we're treating and making it right.
You know, I'm reading Joni's comment there, and again, it's not Martinsville that is charging that. It's the IRC,
right?
And it's the amount of customers we have to what we have to do infrastructure wise. If you've had your water tested, I would ask you to call my office. That's 342-2861, option 3, extension 7. And let our water guys come over and look at it and test it for you. Because if your water is not good, then we need to figure out why.
Right. I just, like I said, I just had mine tested. Bethany had the group come in here and test my water a month ago. Maybe at the most. Yeah.
A week or two.
Yeah.
No.
And tested fine. So,
but there could be something in her lines that is making her water not safe. And so we really need to check that and try to narrow that down and figure out why.
The plumes, like you said, the majority of that now they're worried about is the actual breathing the air and all that. And they're tracking that. And I think they've got a big push coming up this. You don't live in Martinsville anymore. That's what I was looking at. But yeah, that'll be, that's the next step is getting the air and mitigation and all that. So lots of stuff going on. Do you have anything you can give us future wise that you might just let the cat out of the bag on, or anything you'd like to discuss?
I need help.
Uh-oh, here we go.
If
we like this.
Now, I shouldn't say it. My memory is so short, I can't remember. Did we talk about Home Avenue?
Not yet.
We did before we went off.
But I have it written down that you.
Okay.
You said there's something big you want to discuss about a survey, and I was like, whatever. Come on. No, this is important stuff.
No,
right
this is. We need everyone's help to get on the Martinsville's Facebook page, and there's a survey to take. We have a stormwater project that's going to involve putting new storm sewers down Home Avenue and repaving that. And that'll be from Morgan Street all the way to South Street. The city has an opportunity to get a $600,000 grant. The total project is only going to be about $850,000. So the city can have all new storm sewers put in there and repave for $250,000. But we need for residents to come in and take the survey. There's a process for an Okra grant that we have to go through. The more people that we've had taking the survey and whatever are better results. Right now, I think yesterday, I should say, there were like 7 people that took this survey. So you don't have to live on Home Avenue. You really don't have to live in Martinsville. If you just have experienced it or somehow, share the link with your friends. But we need as many people as possible to help us out with this survey.
Now, here's what we run into. There are floods on Main Street, floods on South Street, floods on Grant Street, floods on Home Avenue. But this has been going on for 50-some years, 60-some years, 70-some years. Here's a chance.
That's why we have so much water.
Exactly. Here's a chance to pump that stuff right to Lebanon. Here's a chance to fix one of our problem areas and probably alleviate other areas to just run off by itself from Morgan Street to Home Avenue to South Street, all the way down Home Avenue. If we just get on there and chance to help the city out right here.
Yeah. So we need your help.
Can I share that? And if you share it, can they still click on it and vote?
Yep.
Okay.
Look, somebody's listening.
Was that you?
No, I didn't do it. I don't have access to the city of Martinsville's Facebook page.
Wow.
I bet that's Megan on there doing that for us.
That's pretty sharp. Okay, so I will share that this evening on the page, and I'll share it. I've got pages in Columbus, Greenwood, Franklin, all over.
Well, they don't ask your name,
Right.
so if you've got 2 or 3 devices, take it on each device.
And the more people vote, the better chance we are getting the grant. That's fantastic, because that's one of the problem areas that we need. As I said earlier, sidewalks, flooding issues, water issues, and one by one, my opinion, you're taking care of those, and that's always good for the city. You've got a theater coming in downtown. Can't wait for that. We have a theater right now that we're all, I think, getting ready to go to here real soon. To see the 45 RPMs are playing down there right now. I know you're on the Christmas committee.
And I'm meeting with Mr. Helms next week.
Yeah, I got to actually talk to you about that, because I think my move on what I was tasked to do was in step with, we were waiting on hear back from you. So.
Okay.
But if the folks in the community only seen what all goes into planning something like that, and how many people are involved in wanting what we're trying to do, man.
And we're striving to make it free to the citizens.
Every bit of
it. And we really don't want to hit the businesses up for sponsorships. So that's why we're trying to think outside the box. How can we do the funding for these things?
Right.
Because it's not free.
No.
Would I be on a limb saying $20,000?
No, because the idiot that came up with the idea for the massive tree was the tree itself was going to be, what, 25?
25, yeah.
Yeah.
We're still working on that.
Yeah. I mean, my whole thing was in the center of the street with this massive tree.
I was going to say, it's one of us in here, and it's not me and Kenny. You're right.
Sure, I can do that, Joni. Not a problem. But yeah, everything's more expensive right now, and no matter what we try to do, from some of the ideas that we kicked around there, it's none of it's cheap. No. And even if we just get, like you said, the 20K, there's a lot that we can do with that. We can stretch it, but it'll be fun. I really appreciate Rob and you guys and everybody else. We took off with the tree. Kevin Green said, "That's funny, Corey." And now it's an event, and Bobby Helms, Christmas Bell Rock, or Jingle Bell Rock, and all that. That Rob does some amazing things for this community, and he catches a lot of grief, I think, unwarranted.
We're very fortunate to have someone of his talent in our community that's willing to help us out.
Right, and sometimes he'll come in here at pre-show, and you can just tell he's fuming.
Yeah,
and Rob doesn't get fired up very often, but there are some instances where he just had enough, and I feel for him. And then of course we always have to gig him and say, "Well, you got that stage,
Let's move on. How about
right?
I'd rather talk to Joni about her water.
Right, we need to look at that. They got the Bars Eat coming downtown. I know you guys are hard at work trying to fill buildings, put new things in. I still think we're going to have some turnover with what we have coming in, but hopefully it's upgrades as we move forward. And I know that hurts us all when someone comes and goes. And
I know Cecilia Kraft, who owned the Newberry building.
Yes.
She had passed away. That's sold. Not exactly sure what's coming in there yet. And Man Mission had closed down. And the owner there had talked to us week before last about some different ideas of what could go in there possibly. So
yeah, I know there's a couple ideas out there, and people, they get so discouraged.
And again, I'm that person, that glass is half full.
Right.
I'm always over optimistic. So I've got to really set on myself sometimes, because I don't want to say something and then it doesn't work out. Then I can go, well, that one didn't work. Sorry, folks. I've done that a couple times, and that
you can be like me and say, hey, it would be fun to have a kids putt tournament. And the next thing you know, Kenny, I was building a golf course. I had an arcade, a hatchet throwing thing. Did you remember what all? I was doing this off of that, and I was like, you guys understand that it takes someone to come in and invest in our community to make that stuff happen. It's not Kenny Costin. It's not Bob Strader. It's not Kevin Green. It's someone from out of our community comes in and says, show me what you got. What are you doing with it? Before I can come in here and invest $2 million to break ground to get this running. And sometimes they forget that. And that's baffling to me because it's, first of all, it's your fault, no matter what.
Well, I've always said the buck stops with me.
Right.
I just like get rid of Kevin Green. I don't know what we can do with him.
Yeah, he's I don't know. I love them both. And Melissa's mom, she's a sweetheart. I grew up with Melissa. Tim, her brother, and my brother ran around together, and we ended up staying out there all hours of day and night in summer and out in the woods. And then I just think her and Kevin are great people. And you got a good situation there.
Yes.
And hats off to Melissa for being on the county now, too. So, well, anything else you want to hit on? I know we talked about the survey, and I will push that along.
Yeah, and pass Joni along my information.
I will certainly do that.
And then and let's not stay off the air so long.
I know.
Let's try to get together
every couple weeks if you want, or even in whatever.
And let people know. I any question you have, I'll answer. To the best I can.
Something I want to bring up, and I know people can be like, "Gosh, why are you on him?" Because this is the guy I ran against, and when he does something and receives zero recognition, I don't like that because I know he's not going to toot his own horn. But when we went through that tornado stuff, this guy right here and myself communicated a ton in a 24-hour period. He was coming back and forth in here so much, not on air, but running out and seeing what he can do, and then coming in here and throwing these things, ISD, and hey, I got to make another phone call, come back. 48 hours. What you put into that, thank you. And not just you, there's a lot of people involved in that. And you know that as well as me. But that was good stuff. And a lot of people didn't see that stuff. And I remember I was taking photos, and you were like, "Nah, I don't want it," because that's when we were over the 4-H.
You were trying to get a picture of me taking that cot. That cot was kind of hard.
Sitting down right in the middle of a mayoral race. People don't see that, and I don't care who you vote for. This is our community. I love Scotty. It didn't matter to me who won. You got two great guys running. So we all live here. We all live in the same area. Somebody's got to step up and take charge. And I thought that what you did that day, because I think I texted you or called you at 10:45, and I was 20 minutes out. And hey, I'll be home here in a little bit if you want to sit down and we can get Beth. When I pulled up, you were right behind me. And I don't know where you were at that point in time, but people don't see that. And, they want to complain, oh, he paved Sherman Estates first. He did this. He's doing that. He works at the funeral home while he's mayor. Well, you had that job when you were elected, I believe. You were still, but it just,
and it's
that ripes me.
And it's still our families. It's very humbling to help somebody through a tragic time, and I still want to be there for that.
The citizens, a lot of people in this community got together during that event, and you're talking the Mayfields and the churches and missions and Bethany and Corey, myself and you, and just a lot of Mr. Dunn was over there, Mr. Oakes was over there.
We wanted to take care of our community.
Yeah, and that's what you need.
You can call it the city, but we're still our community.
Heard something from Courtney from Hometown Nutrition this afternoon. She's a Franklin girl. Lives on this side of Franklin. She says on the cool side because it's close to Martinsville. But she has a store here and over there. Or, this is her business, and then she's got a friend's got one over there. She said that she loves Franklin. It's her home for her. But she says Martinsville has such a small town feel to it, even as it's bursting at the seams and starting to grow, that she doesn't want to lose it. And I thought that was pretty cool for her to say that. And that's not a girl from Martinsville. That's a girl over there struggling to make a business go and wanting this, that, and the other. And that was pretty cool for her to say that.
And I think we can keep that small town feel.
Yeah.
We keep doing things like what we're doing tonight downtown.
Yep.
We get the Civic Theater. We have the school groups coming in doing plays. We have small, intimate entertainment venues, and that will help us keep the small town.
I agree. Mr. Mayor, thank you as always. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll get something going. And...
Well, I'll see you up at the venue.
Yeah, right now. I'm gonna go out and start videotaping construction for the next show so we can.
Hopefully, it'll be done by then.
Right. Kenny, thank you as always. Corey, you didn't say much this time.
Hey, I talked more normal. Come on.
Are you going to go down there venue with me? Or are you going home? He's been fighting a bad back.
Nobody knows what a bad back's like. Got one.
Yeah.
I threw mine out one time picking up a Kleenex.
Yeah.
And I was down for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. I've done it getting out of bed, sneezing into something silly.
Yeah.
It's been years and years, and I found.
But you know, when we were 18, 19 years old, we were invincible.
Oh, yeah.
We could do anything.
When I was 35, I thought I was invincible. You hit 40ish and you go, huh? Oh, don't turn too quick. Don't touch me. I want to say this before I go, in case my kids are watching. I don't know if they are, but it's been a rough 5 months for them. They lost their grandpa on their mom's side back in January. He was a fire chief down at Perry Clear Creek for decades. One of the most genuine people I've ever met. Sad to see him go, and then they lost their grandma last Saturday or Sunday over Memorial Day weekend. And though I wasn't a part of their family as far as that after 14 years and we ended up getting divorced, but my kids will always be attached to them because that is their grandma. And it's a tough time for them. But I just want to say, and I posted this, life is too short, folks. If you've got a grudge, especially with family or friends or someone you're close to, bury that and get on with it, because you never know. And unfortunately, times like this makes you realize that. So praying for my kids and praying for their family. And what is today? Wednesday? Thursday. We're almost to the weekend. Love you guys. Mayor,
you're getting that fabulous.
Oh, I know. This is going on Saturday. All of it. I cannot wait. Thank you so much as always, Kenny. God bless you.
Thank you.
Corey, get that back better. Love you guys. We will see you soon.